Okay, so here is a quick reminder of a couple of things that we did during our Thursday session. In addition to that, applying a little bit of heat to the area of concern, I think is important. And then maybe if you have some sort of topical like Tiger Balm or BioFreeze, something like that might be helpful as well. So we found that your calf muscles were extremely tight, so I think starting to roll those are going to be super important. So we started on the side with the injury at the ankle, and then what we did is taking that opposite leg, crossing over, and you're just going to sort of windshield wiper side to side. There wasn't as much tension like right at that base of the heel or base of the ankle, but still important to do nonetheless. After you kind of go through a couple times of windshield wipering, you can also flex and point your foot, so you're kind of getting your foot moving in different directions so you can get different angles of the muscle. And then we moved up sort of a 1/4 of an inch, same thing, sort of windshield wiper. And I believe it was your left side that you really found some spots that were extremely like uncomfortable. When you find those spots, what I want you to do is just sit up nice and tall and try to sit into it. Nice deep breaths in hopes that we sort of release some of that tension in the muscle. And again, going side to side. We went all the way up to just before the bend in the knee. I would try to avoid the bend of the knee and stopping just before there, because that can be a little bit intense, but also with the ligaments and such, there's not enough supportive tissue there to prevent it from damaging, okay? Second thing we did is we rolled the TFL, so kind of right in that hip point, and then down the IT band. Same thing, we stopped, just sort of just above the bend of the knee. So in this position, we were down on the side. You can start on your forearms, and I like to take that top leg and kind of cross it over. And we kind of went up and down here in this position. And then once we kind of found a spot, in addition to that, you lifted your leg up and down just a little bit and then heel towards the backside. Ooh, that is painful. And then kind of rolled down. If it's too much to move that bottom leg, that is okay. You can just roll it gently. And remember, general rule of thumb, if there is an extremely painful spot, come off of it and start over again. If it's a good pain, meaning like it feels like it's releasing a little bit, you can stay in that position a little longer. And then we kind of reviewed the trigger point ball, so using the lacrosse ball. Ideally, you can also roll your foot too, so envision my hand as my foot, and I'm just gonna kind of roll kind of side to side and then move up, roll side to side, moving up. Same thing, you can also sit on the lacrosse ball for some trigger points. So once you've rolled with your calf with the foam roller, you can also do the same thing with the lacrosse ball, where you kind of get yourself into a spot and find it and then just sit there and let it release. You can also flex and point and move the foot side to side. We did the same thing with the glutes. So again, sitting into it, you're gonna wanna prop your body up just a little bit. So kind of rolling around until you find that spot where you're like, ooh, yep, that's the spot right there. And then just try to sink into it and breathe and relax. Sometimes doing this foam rolling can be slightly nauseating. The other thing is, it can cause some fatigue later in the day, so don't be surprised if you're feeling a little bit like, or sometimes even emotional too. The other thing is, we can also get you in the lacrosse ball to work the hamstrings, so the back of the legs. I would do that on a chair or a slightly firmer surface. You can start in the seated position and kind of roll around, find your spot there. And then you can also work towards like the insertion of the hamstring, same thing, sitting down and then you can lift that leg up and down. And then just kind of working it all the way down the leg to just above where the knee bends in that position. After you do this rolling, I would try to make sure you do drink lots of water, hydrate, and refuel yourself as well. And then you can follow all this stuff up with some resets. So taking like your yoga block, I don't have a yoga block in the frame, so sorry I have to run out for a second. And then just practicing resetting that pelvis again. And so just squeezing as tightly as you can and then releasing, squeezing as tightly as you can and then releasing. And then you can do a couple of those knee drops. So hopping on your back and just letting the legs go side to side in that position. And a lot of times that'll restabilize everything. Okay, let me know if you have any questions and I hope this helps.